You're a listing agent wanting to grow your business in 2026, you're not going to want to miss this one. Let's get into it.
Dressing price. All my rings got weight to it. You feel that? You feel that? Hey, you heard that? Classic.
Let's talk about 2026 and listing agent marketing for 2026. We know that 38% of all the listings happen because of a referral from friends or family. Another 26% were done because the client, 28% were done because the client had used the agent in the past. So that's a total of 66%. What's interesting about that though is it leaves 34% of the market left for everyone else to fight over. Does that surprise you?
Usually those people are there because they don't know where to go. How can you prove to them that you are the person to go to? I'm doubling down. So my biggest clientele, is referrals. It's referrals. It's also people that I'm like almost 10 years in the business. So it's repeat clients and I keep track of everything. So what I would say as an agent, which is going a little bit of a different direction than your question, but what I would say as an agent is truly look at where your business came from and double down on that. Where did the majority of your business come from? If your business primarily came from like referrals, how can you double down on your referrals? I don't want to fight for people I don't know. I'm marketing to the people that I already know. I'm going to market to the people that already know me, they like me, they trust me, because they're either going to use me or they're going to refer me to somebody else that needs a realtor. So that's who I market to. As an agent that's new into the business, you're going to be marketing to everybody. You're probably going to be taking leads. You're going to be making cold calls still. It's part of the game, and it's a matter of dialing in on your 4 pillars of where you feel like you're going to get your business. Like, is it from friends and family? Is it from hobbies and interests or the gym? So you're going to dial in on those things and really try to market to people that don't know you yet and don't know you're a realtor, but you just have to get out there. You have to show people that you are a realtor, not just a Facebook friend.
38% is still from friends and family, which is still a very large percentage. And so as a new agent, I would still say that that's something very much to focus on and spend their time, energy, and effort in marketing and letting everybody know exactly what they do.
Right, it's huge. And not only that, and I could give a presentation on this, but there's so much missed business because people don't know. And I had an agent who, she's like, well, I'm afraid I'm gonna come off tacky. I'm just like, you're not. Like, if you're coming off tacky, it's because you're being tacky. Like, look, like you need to have a plan. Like, don't be posting, guess what? I'm selling this house today. Like, be authentic, but be purposeful. Let them know who you are without jamming it down their throat.
Yeah, well, you're in sales and nobody wants to be sold to, but letting everybody know what you do is really important.
And there's nothing worse than being a salesman that's being sold to.
Right. Well, there's also nothing worse than having that friend or family member or coworker who doesn't.
I want a deal.
No. Well, that's bad. But I'm saying they don't know what you do because you didn't let them know.
Right.
You are embarrassed
to
bring that up. I mean, this is not about me, but I would say, as you know, I used to play basketball every morning for 20 years. And I was very fortunate. I made a lot of business from that. But the one person I just assumed who knew what I did and bought a big house and posted it, and I was like, what the hell?
Didn't use you.
Right. And he's like, I'm sorry, I totally would have. I didn't notice what you did. And I was just like, that was on me. But I share that with people because a lot of people are scared to market. They're scared to come off tacky. Mm-hmm. But also with that 38%, what I see on our side is we see unfortunately, a lot of clients who come back and don't want to use their realtor because they haven't heard from them since they closed or whatever it is. So it's still worth diving into that portion, but you're right. I mean, the majority of your business is going to be from your sphere. And that's why I always try to concentrate with people I work with is just growing that.
So I have my personal Facebook and my professional AW Homes Real Estate Facebook. I do different things on those. Like, I keep it professional on one and I keep it personal on the other. Now, I will occasionally share the stuff from my professional page to my personal, or from my personal, because one, most of the people are my friends, and I want to show, hey, I'm working with our friend. Like, oh, hey, Melissa, like, did you know I just helped Alicia buy a house? So it's nice that they occasionally see that, and make sure you're tagging those people in there too, because then it shows up on their feed. But I think when it comes to being a silent salesman, it doesn't work.
So after the two categories that make up 66%, everything else in the way of attracting a new client was at a 4% capture or less. So why do agents spend so much time, energy, effort, and money fighting over that remaining 34% if none of those gather more than 4%?
Because it's about brand awareness. So like me, I sponsor local sports teams. And it's not because I get business from it, it's because people who are at those events see my banner and then they see me somewhere else and they know who I am. So it's more about the recognition on marketing versus actually getting business from it.
Now you see it that way, but do you think that other listing agents see it that way?
The good ones do. The other ones want to be famous. I think some of it is like fake it till you make it.
Or some of it is they don't know where else to go.
Yeah.
So, oh, I'm buying these leads. I'm sitting here. I'm going there.
But true, real professionals and just people who have done their research know where their money should go and why.
So as a listing agent, how much do you spend on your referral database marketing versus marketing to the general audience? I would assume that the referral database not only is cheaper, but it captures it at a much higher rate.
It is, but it's all the same budget. I budget 10%. So 10% of all of my gross is purely for like client gift, client awareness, client branding, and sponsorships. I have another 10% that is for other things like services, like getting their houses cleaned or carpets cleaned, or if I have to with a listing, like photos, so I have 10% for true marketing to get business, and then 10% to my current business for like listing photos and all that stuff, if that makes sense, because I still consider that marketing, because it is.
For a listing agent who is wondering how to grow their repeat and referral business, what steps would you recommend that they take?
Ask them. Ask your clients to send you business. Start again authentically. Like, you can't ask somebody to send you a client who you haven't talked to in 10 years. Be more present. Be more purposeful with relationships. It's a relationship business. But just don't be transactional. Like, really just be out there, show people you care, and the business will come, even half the time without even asking. But, I mean, it also doesn't hurt to ask. Every year every quarter I send out an email to my clients, or even a personal text, like, hey, I loved working with you. I would love working with more people like you. Who do you know that I could work with this year? It's that simple.
Another interesting stat we found was that 81% of all listing clients chose the very first agent they spoke with. Does that surprise you?
No, that's always been the research. And usually it's because somebody else told them about this person, or again, it's part of that branding recognition. If they've seen your sign somewhere, oh yeah, they must be really good. I'll talk to them first. And then, okay, I really liked you. I'm gonna work with you. So I'm not surprised at all. If you make a really good first impression and you give the sellers what they need information-wise, they're gonna choose you.
Another stat that we found was that only 50% of sellers actually chose that exact same agent to help them with the purchase of their new home. What do you think of that?
I think it seems kind of low. Some things that play into factor there, though, are what was that seller doing next? Where were they going? Were they staying local? Maybe they thought that their listing agent wasn't the best use for, maybe they wanted a downtown condo and that wasn't that agent's specialty. Or maybe they wanted a lake house and again, they didn't think that that was the agent's specialty, or they're retiring and they're going into a nursing home, so they don't need an agent. Relocation also. So I do still think that number is low. However, we did have a lot of first-time home buyers this year, because guess who's not scared by the interest rates? First-time home buyers.
But in this particular situation, it is somebody who used an agent for selling a house.
Yeah.
So they're not a first-time home buyer in this scenario, but
Right.
they would be moving on. So do you feel like agents do a good job at the conversation with their seller about what their next steps are and how they may be able to help them?
So actually, another thing to point out is that a lot of listing agents don't also do buys. A lot of listing agents only do listings. Like I do about 50 transactions a year. If all of my transactions were listings, I probably wouldn't be able to work with buyers. I wouldn't have time, so I would have a buyer's agent.
Sure.
So that's actually likely where that low number is coming from, is because as a listing agent, if you are too busy, you're going to have somebody else do the buyer, take care of the buyer. As well as, like, for a listing, the average listing agent spends 20 hours working with that client, working on that listing. With the buyer, it's more like 30 to 40 hours. So if you are primarily a listing agent, your time is more efficient with listings than it is with buyers. So I think a lot of it also comes to play into, sometimes listing agents just don't want to work with the buyers and they'll give them to a buyer's agent.
Is that a lost opportunity? Like, why wouldn't I partner with somebody to at least capture that business?
Usually someone on their team though. Like, I know a lot of team situations. So it just depends on what people want for their business, really. That's like a lender. Some lenders don't do MSHDA or the other government-funded programs or state-funded programs because they just don't want to work with that. So it's the same thing with listings. And
How much of that, though, do you think is where the listing agent's scared to ask for the business to help them go buy a house?
I don't think so.
No?
I really don't think so. Generally speaking, most agents start out as a buyer's agent. So it's actually usually the opposite. I have a lot more difficulty helping get my new agents confident with listings. They're super confident with buying, but with listings, there's a lot more work that goes into it on the front end, like photos and organizing everything and getting the handyman and getting all the vendors, and I order a dumpster and all of those things. So most agents start as a buyer's agent. So I really don't think it's that I think sometimes people just don't want to run around, so they'd rather do listings.
What do you think is the number one thing that a seller wants from an agent when representing their property?
You already have this stat.
I do. And a few more, but I'm curious from your perspective, what is it?
For me, I like to focus on their timeline. Like, what do they want their timeline to look like? Because if they want to sell and be in their new house in March, like, we got to get rolling. And then from their timeline, like, what does that look like? How do we get there? How do we get your house ready to list? So then I help organize like a handyman. I try to work as a concierge business where I'm all in one. And that might not necessarily be on your list, but it's a matter of helping organize everything, like the cleaner. Just making everything simple, I feel like, is super important for the seller, taking all that stress off of them.
Okay, so here's some interesting stats. So what sellers most want from a real estate agent by the level of service provided? Number one was to help a seller market the home to potential buyers at 22%. Number two was help a price home competitively at 20%. 3 was sell the home within the specific time frame, as you mentioned, which is 18%. Help the seller find ways to fix up the home and sell it for more. That was 15%. And only at number 5 is it mentioned to help find a buyer for the home at 13%.
Well, I think because all the other things are like we would have a lot more for sale by owners if they didn't want all those other things. Like, Those are the things people don't want to do. Like, I don't even like to clean my own house, let alone if I'm going to list my house. So it all makes sense. And I think that finding a buyer is just going to come naturally once you get all of the other things done. I would like to see the numbers before they start and then after they're done, because I'm confident that would be in complete reverse once the house closes. Does that make sense? Because if you do all of those things on their list, there's top to bottom, their priorities, and you sell the house, but it takes 2 months, then at that 2-month point, they're probably going to say finding a buyer was number one.
So what do you think is the number one most important factor for a client when choosing an agent to list their home?
Personally, I think it should always be based on communication, making sure that you have somebody that communicates and you have a conversation about that communication and what to expect. I feel like as a seller, you really should choose somebody that works full time. Like, this is their bread and butter. They eat, sleep, and breathe real estate. They know what they're doing. They're in tune with the market. They educate themselves. They network.
So here are some stats. Number one is the reputation of an agent at 35%.
But how are they going to find that?
I think it ties into what you just said, though.
Yeah.
Being professional, all those different things, that's going to lead to that.
All of the third-party sites like Zillow, Realtor.com, Rate My Agent, those are all, like, we have no control over those. So those are all legitimate reviews.
Number two is agent is honest and trustworthy, which goes hand in hand with number one is difficult to prove. Number three is that an agent is a friend or family member at 16%.
Which is crazy to me, because you're going to sometimes, like, if it's a family member, like, if it goes sideways, you're not talking to them.
Right.
It's kind of like politics. Like, if you don't agree with politics, like, you're not going to see them at Christmas.
Number four was agent's knowledge of the neighborhood. That was 10%. An agent has a caring personality or a good listener, your communication. It's 5%. And one of the stats I thought was really interesting is that the professional designation held by an agent was only 1% of the total choice. Why do you think that is?
Because they don't know what that means.
Talk about why you think real estate agents spend so much time getting designations if it's only 1% of the choice from a client.
Referrals from other realtors.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Okay, but on that, I know where you're going
Yeah.
with that. But how often is that real? I mean, I see some of the agents that have 5 or 6 different things, and I have no idea what they mean.
So, one, there's a few different reasons. Because, for example, if you want to be on the board, guess what? You need to show that you are going through the education. Like, you need to show that you're continually learning and going to classes. To become a broker, you have to take the GRI classes. So continuing your education just in general, like, is important. But if you are part of NAR, part of the National Realtors Association of Realtors, I give lots of business to other agents, but I do look up their criteria. I do look up how many sales they've had. I do look up if they're up to date on education, especially Women's Council of Realtors. I use them heavily. Actually, I just gave 2 referrals to Arizona. Her name's also Angela. Might be biased, but because she's Women's Council of Realtors. And so I think those designations are important, especially as you're trying to create relationships amongst other states and get referral business.
But from a customer's perspective, like, I see many agents blasting that stuff all over.
Yeah. Well, so I have a designation as a senior real estate specialist.
For senior living?
Yes.
Okay.
So what that does is that helps me with people. It helps me understand the older population, over 50. So, but yeah, so like that designation, for example, I do market to that population, and I do say, hey, I have this designation. And I've worked with a lot of boomers, but it's also dependent on who your clientele is. So I also don't think that probably consumers understand that their agent is marketing that.
What is the percentage of sellers that would use their real estate agent again or recommend them to others?
Isn't it like 40 something percent?
72.
Oh, that's good.
So 72% would.
But that's still low. Part of it, I think, is agents just losing relationships. They're not following up. They're not
asking for the business.
Yeah, they're again, like all this, like and it's opportunistic. So if you have somebody in front of you and it's the time, it's the moment, and they forgot your name because they haven't talked to you in 3 years, then they're going to go with that person that's right in front of them. Like you said, it's like they interview one person and they pick that person.
Yeah.
So if they have, actually I had this last month where I had somebody who's like, hey, so my financial advisor recommended I use this person, but I saw your name and I don't know how, but I know I saw your name and I just wanted to interview you and talk to you first. Well, guess what? I got the business.
First.
Yeah.
Another 15% said they would probably recommend. So with the 72% that would, that's 87% say that they would or probably would recommend or use that agent again. So what does that say about agent marketing?
They need to be better.
Sorry.
Well, not just that, it sucks or they need to be better, but what can they do about it?
Be personal. Like, are you having personal touches to your past clients? And I'm not, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Like, you can simply, like, I don't know, Facebook makes it really easy to know when people's birthdays are.
Anniversaries.
Send them a text. Just say happy birthday. One thing I despise are the automated ones that come through. I do not send those out because I just like, okay, that's whatever. I'm just in your system, so I'm just another name. So I try to be personal with it. I miss some. I'll catch them on something else though. I do 4 events a year. Either like a spring, summer, fall, winter event, or I give them a gift or I send them a card. Like, so I think people just are not being personal enough, and you're going to be forgotten.
Does the real estate agent have CRMs or follow-up plans that they recommend?
Yeah.
Do most agents use them or subscribe to them?
No. A lot of people, again, are transactional. They're one and done. And then they're texting me, like I'm a team leader. So they're texting me this time of year, I have no business, da 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 da. It's just like, yeah, because
They don't have a plan.
you're not creating relationships and you're not following through.
Right, but if they do what he's referring to, or you're talking about the automatic one, that's all they do.
Yeah.
And then most people do know, I don't know, that's not, that's not it. But I mean, again, I chart everything.
Yeah.
This year, I had 8 clients come back to me into Aaron's stats. They said they probably would have used their realtor, but 3 of them couldn't remember the realtor's name.
I hope none of those were my clients.
Nope. And the other 5 basically just said they had not heard from their person whatsoever. No, that was 3 of them. Another 2 were just like, yeah, we didn't like that person. But all I'm saying is that that's just a small sampling. But the fact that a realtor closed a loan with a customer and they never heard from them again.
For the most part, like I have a CRM system that's really great. I work that like a business. There are a lot of realtors that just don't work their business like a business. They work it like a hobby, but they expect to get a 6-figure salary. And it does not work at all. Happy hours don't pay the bills. Happy hours don't create relationships. Happy hours don't let your clients know that you are a realtor. I think it's just people aren't putting the time and energy into creating those relationships and the database to keep track of it, to make sure that they're top of mind for people that they worked with.
So here's some more stats for you, but these are really interesting with what we've already talked about. How many times do you feel like the seller would recommend a typical agent? So I'll go through these for you. 35% they wouldn't at all. 13% said they have recommended 1 time. 16% 2 times. 10% 3 times, and 25% would recommend or have recommended 4 times or more. So if I'm a listing agent and I know that 66% are chosen by friends and family or referrals, or I've used them before, 81% would choose the first agent they talk to, and 87% would choose to recommend or would probably choose to recommend. If I'm a listing agent and I'm avoiding my database or not talking to my database or past clients or referrals, I'm giving up on all of these potential referrals as well. What do you think about that?
No, it's true. I try to treat my past clients like gold. It's important to communicate with them to make sure that they know you do care beyond the transaction, I want them to be my friend. It's again, if you treat this as a transactional business, you may as well go sell cars. It's just, I'm not surprised by those stats, but it's okay because I know I work beyond what those stats are. So whoever's not working the way they should, I'll take your business.
So talk to a typical listing agent. What steps would you recommend they take to grow their business now knowing these stats in 2026?
If you're just starting out, work until you can't work anymore. Work it like a business. Get organized. Have a to-do list. Eat the Frog. Best book ever. You need to start with a plan. You need to dissect it. You need to have goals for each month of how many people you're going to communicate with. And that doesn't mean just asking for business. It's just like you should be having 5 really good interactions with people every single day. And it's not about business. It's more of like, hey, I saw you had a baby. How are things going? Just reach out to 5 people every day and have authentic relationships. And then it all comes. And as a listing agent, yeah, the marketing, I still believe you should market. Don't let people know that let people know you're a realtor in a good, subtle way. Because then when they see your name pop up, and they're going to remember that you reached out to them. Oh yeah, Jason. Oh, I'm going to use him. Or, hey, they're just in conversation. And you just want to always be top of mind. So how can you be top of mind always? That's what you need to focus on.
We said that for, we said that for new agents. Would you have
all of them?
Same thing for experienced?
Everyone. Yeah, it doesn't change. Does not change. Experienced agents, for me, my marketing's not really changing. Really, it's not.
But it's consistent.
It's consistent.
Is key.
Yeah, consistent.
Jason, any final thoughts?
No, I just appreciate your time.
Thank you.
No, I
appreciate you having me.
My pleasure.
Angela, any final thoughts?
I said a lot.
I would just say it for you. Just educate yourself. Talk with someone, do the research, check out their experience.
And get mentors. Actually, that's the one thing I would say as any agent, whether you're seasoned or you're new, get a mentor, get somebody that you can have a roundtable discussion with, bounce ideas off of. We don't have secrets. That's the thing is in a lot of my agents, I've heard, not my agents, but I've heard agents say, well, I can't tell you because I don't want you to steal my idea. Nothing's secret. It's all real.
Not a lot of original ideas.
Well, and to be clear, not a lot of people are doing it.
Right. And that's the thing is that, again, the top 10% of people do 90% of the business. The question is, are you going to be in the top 10 or are you going to be in the bottom 90? So.
Most likely they're going to be in the bottom 90.
Yeah. That's okay because I'll be here to pick up the business.
Well, Angela, thanks for coming on our podcast. Thanks for spending some time with us on Insight to Impact. We'll see you on the next one.